The X-Men films have had a bizarre journey, to say the least. There's some really excellent movies, while there's been some extremely bad ones. I'm sorry, I had to. Just stay with me here. What really shocks me, though, is that unlike the MCU, the Fox X-Men movies just won't see another light of day. With the Disney purchase of 20th Century Fox, it's pretty much a given fact that we won't see this universe ever again. In my opinion, there's something kind of tragic about that. Growing up, I personally saw the Fox X-Men series as some of my favorite superhero films. No matter how good or bad they would be, I feel like I was always at the theater to see the new ones. Much like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, they helped pave the way for new comic book franchises. I was very pleasantly surprised to see a bunch of YouTubers talking about some of their favorite X-Men moments, and I thought, well, why don't I do that? Today I want to talk about my one excellent scene. It's not from Deadpool, and it's definitely not a Quicksilver scene, but it's in fact one of my favorite parts of First Class was the perfect casting of the younger mutants like Charles Xavier with James McAvoy, and of course Magneto with Michael Fassbender. Days of Future Past not only served as a great sequel to both First Class, but of course the original X-Men too. It was a story that felt like it had real genuine stakes and actual consequences. In a weird way, this was the Avengers Endgame for the X-Men. Besides the fact that there was of course time travel involved, there just felt like a genuine sense of finality with this movie. The moment where I really felt the peak of these emotions was of course the stadium scene.
You built these weapons to destroy us. Why? Because you are afraid of our gifts. Because we are different. Humanity has always feared that which is different. Well, I'm here to tell you, to tell the world. You're right to fear us. We are the future.
There's something that hits differently about Magneto's speech because in 2020 it feels so, I don't know, real? In a pandemic-torn United States, we've had a surge in protest gatherings for the Black Lives Matter movement after the murder of George Floyd. While racial injustice is certainly not new in this country, it really felt like the first time I had seen a huge conversation on social media. While we do have a long way to go, I feel like it's finally the first time people are actually getting involved. Ironically, one of the first pieces of media that introduced me to the concept of civil rights was, of course, the original X-Men trilogy.
I've heard these arguments before. It was a long time ago. Mankind has evolved since then.
Yes, into us.
The idea behind Magneto as a character taught me how one becomes driven to fight for their rights. For someone that witnessed treatment from humanity at one of the worst times in our history, I don't disagree with his hatred for the humans. That's why his speech just resonates so much with what's happening right now. He's not only speaking to the mutant race as an oppressed group, but how the humans are the problem. Considering that he's showing a weapon designed to exterminate an entire group of people, it's like, how can you not agree with him? What really drives the scene is how it constantly cuts back to the future to show how the Sentinels are tearing through our heroes on their last stand. Everything about this scene is just gripping because we know the stakes of the future, and we know that Magneto is ruining any chance they have of defeating the Sentinels. What really sells the scene, though, is showing us how the older Magneto finally makes peace with Charles Xavier.
All those years wasted fighting each other, Charles. To have a precious few of them back.
It feels like the first moment Magneto has had of being human in a really long time. Throughout the previous X-Men films, it was always clear that despite being friends, Charles and Magneto could never see eye to eye on mutant rights. When it's all said and done, after years of disagreements and fighting, it all means nothing if it ends with them all being wiped out. If this is the future that they have created for themselves, then this is where Magneto realizes he had it all wrong. He wasted so many years of his life fighting a genuine friend of his to prove a point that never had a payoff. So if him advocating for mutants versus humans was the wrong path, it begs the question, what's the solution? I think according to Days of Future Past, it all starts with a choice.
Get out of my head, Charles!
Raven, please do not make us the enemy today.
Look around you, we already are.
Not all of us. All you've done so far
is save the lives of these men. You can show them a better path. Share it down, Charles. I've been trying to control you ever since the day we met. And look where that's got us. Everything that happens now is in your hands.
In this case, Raven's choice saves the future. Charles reminds us that if we want to see change, we have to show the best of our humanity. This is the answer to Magneto's question. This is how we advocate for justice against injustice. Raven could have killed Trask, but she finally realized there's a cost to all of our actions. She had to show humanity better than humanity. Days of Future Past reminds us that no matter how dark, how bleak, or how hopeless the future looks, we have to remember this.
Countless choices define our fate. Each choice, each moment, a ripple in the river of time. Enough ripples, and you change the tide. For the future is never truly set.